We had two of our canine handlers who was stealing from the sheriff's department.
Did you come across this story about two Richland County deputies in South Carolina being fired and arrested for stealing department gear as well as trying to sell it while on duty? Oh! Hey, what's going on? My name is Scott. I'm a former police officer. And let me tell you, as a former canine handler, this ticked me off a lot to read about this. But from what I read, particularly through the Post and Courier Columbia, on January 22nd, a Richland County investigator came across a social media post that appeared to be attempting to sell police canine gear. And some of it was still in the package. Now, upon further looking into this, turns out that a canine handler named Isaac Page set up a fake profile. So what do the investigators do? They don't turn a blind eye. They set up like an undercover thing, and they have an operative arranged to meet Page to buy the gear. He shows up to sell the gear in his county vehicle. Just gets worse though. There were two deputies, former canine specialist, well, I should say ex-canine specialist, Corey Mayo. And it turns out that upon further investigation into these two, they were kind of working together or colluding about this, dating all the way back to February of 24. So you have the theft of the gear. Then you have the attempt to sell the gear. And then when the attempt to sell the gear is made because of an undercover operative, you show up in your police vehicle. Gosh, this tarnishes the badge, and the sheriff was visibly upset about that, as any decent cop would be. So upon the investigation, the two were fired and then arrested and charged. And from what I read, they got a pretty high bond. Not a written promise. But I looked more into the Richland County Sheriff's Office Canine Unit, and here is what's so sad. Back in June of 2024, Richland County deputies attempted to stop a van that had been reported stolen the day before. But the suspect did not stop, and a vehicle pursuit started, and they got the car to eventually stop because of the use of stop sticks, but then the suspect bailed out of the car, and Canine Wick's handler harnessed him up, leashed him up, and a track started to locate the suspect. But unfortunately, gosh, this is so sad. During the track, the leash broke, and Canine Wick continued running and sadly was hit in the northbound lanes of I-77. As a former canine handler, I could not imagine having to watch that happen because the dogs have our heart. Now, fortunately, the suspect in that stolen vehicle was later apprehended, but still, we can't bring back Canine Wick, and it's just so sad that it was because of a leash breaking. But then in October of 2024, Richland County deputies going after another stolen vehicle. Suspect bailed, and then Canine Kodak and his handler started a track to locate the suspect. Sadly, gosh, this is so sad, Canine Kodak got entangled in barbed wire while in the woods or something like that. But basically, he didn't get just entangled. He was punctured by that barbed wire to a point that it was so severe, he didn't recover from the injury of that, and he passed away. So you're looking at June and October, lost two canines, and then you got the community support because of what's happened. And then you got these two fools that decide it's a good idea to steal and then try to sell off department issued equipment. How disgraceful can you be? And how selfish can you be? Those left on the canine unit, they have got to be in a world of hurt. But this story reminds me of when I went through the rookie school, and I had some darn good instructors in the rookie school. I'll never forget some advice that helped me to get my mind right for a career ahead, where police officers have a lot of freedom, and the instructors had to have heart-to-heart talks with us. And one of them was a retired police officer, and he said, remember, integrity is doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. The director of the school, I'll never forget him talking about how police have a lot of freedom and you have to be responsible with that freedom. He also said, when we started in the rookie school, he said, every single one of you has done something stupid. So remember, you're not better than anybody. And that stuck with me for my entire career. But some advice a major, which is a pretty high rank in a police department, gave me early in the career was there's mistakes of the heart, mistakes of the head. When you make mistakes of the head, that'll get you in big trouble. Make mistakes of the heart. It's not that it frees you of consequences, but it's easier for them to work with you, particularly when you own up to your mistakes. That kind of revolves around this point of avoiding the gray area. Like if you have to think whether this is right or wrong, chances are it's not right. And there is good advice that is said in the rookie schools and throughout departments that you don't represent you. You represent the department. And with the way technology is nowadays, we're all connected and news spreads like that. One police officer, in my opinion, represents every police officer across the country. But also, every single police officer, particularly if you're new to it, I don't know if you've been told, but your mental health really impacts how you are. Now, I'm not saying these guys were battling mental health conditions. I don't know enough about them and know enough about their work history and background, stuff like that. But law enforcement is a job where you can let some things get in the way. One being your ego, and two, the culture of law enforcement. Mental health is not really embraced. It's more of a, well, we got to bottle it in because of fear of getting in trouble, or there's a stigma around it. Therefore, you got a lot of police officers and other first responders in other career fields burying stress and trauma, and that starts to lead to mental health conditions, to which it is a fact that first responders are more at risk of mental health issues than the general public. In my opinion, we can change that. But when you do not take care of you, particularly up here, you start to get clouded judgment. One symptom of more than one mental health conditions is impulsivity. You make rash decisions. Can't be doing that when you're a police officer. But also, it's really important for anyone interested in getting into the profession. Who you are with will make or break you in the career. Seriously, if you hang around officers who are negative, or in some cases are straight up corrupt, then we are who we are around, and their bad habits can rub off on you. As it was said last year in my video with JT with Survive Policing, you have to have a concrete set of values to hold on to, because you're going to come across people, whether it be outside of the profession or unfortunately sometimes in the profession, who will do questionable things. But that also leads me to my next point. If you're thinking about getting into law enforcement and you get brought in for an internal investigation because of someone's misconduct, I don't care how tight you are with that person, you don't lie for them. And I was very lucky to have veteran officers who kept things in perspective, and they said, nobody is worth your career. Nobody is worth your career. So look, I'm not here to come across as some self-righteous know-it-all. It's just good advice that was relayed to me. And if you're interested in getting into the profession, or you're already new to it, then I hope this was good info, because I don't think when these deputies got sworn in as cops, they took their oath and then said, I look forward to the day when I ruin my career and get a criminal record by stealing canine equipment, trying to sell it, and when I finally get someone who's willing to buy it, who happens to be an undercover operative, then I'll use my county police vehicle to go do this illegal sale of stolen merchandise. I don't think they said that to themselves. Stay humble, keep your ego in check, take care of yourself between the ears, hang around good people on the job, off the job, and have a successful career. Click right here for your next video. See you there.